Hello, and welcome to Soul Snacks, small videos about big ideas. Now, doesn't it sometimes feel like the world is becoming a worse place to live in? Hans Rosling looked to answer this using data in a book called Factfulness. To begin, I'm going to ask you two questions. First, over the last 20 years, the number of people living in extreme poverty has A. more than doubled, B. remained about the same, or C. reduced to about half. Second question, over the last century, the number of deaths from natural disasters per year has A. more than doubled, B. remained about the same, or C. decreased to less than half. Well, it turns out that the answer to both those questions is C. The number of people living in extreme poverty has almost halved over the last 20 years. Over the last century, people dying from natural disasters has reduced to less than half. According to data from the World Health Organization and the United Nations, the world is a better place to live in on almost every developmental measure. If the world is a better place to live in than ever before, then why are we more stressed out than ever before? Surveys show that America is the fourth most stressed out country in the world. 55% of Americans feel stressed out for most of the day. Apparently, we have an instinctual love for bad news because our evolution wants to protect us against the worst case scenario. The saber-toothed tiger hiding in the bushes. And the media feeds this frenzy. Let me give you a thought experiment to prove this. Imagine the number of things that need to go right for an airplane to travel 8,000 miles from Delhi to San Francisco and land safely. Is that news? No, it happens every day. It is news when one plane in 10 million skids on the runway though. This is not to say that bad news is unimportant. It's just hugely overweighted. Human beings love drama, and so that's what we are fed. Now, there are many reasons for our stress, but I think we can all agree that being stressed is not fun. It saps us. So how do we deal with this? The Stoics talked about one way, which I think is very powerful. They called it the mind fortress or the mind garden. The idea here is that there might be a war raging outside, but you can preserve the peace within the four walls of your mind. How does one achieve this? Well, each of us needs to figure out our own way. But being fact-based rather than worst-case scenario-based when we are forming our perceptions, like Rosling talked about, might help. For example, if I feel someone is dismissive of me at work, my reaction might be anger or irritation. I can just take a pause and examine the evidence for and against my thought. Perhaps a better reframing of the situation could be, yes, they were a little aloof, but I know they've just had a new baby and been sleepless, and their tone wasn't that personal. This balanced view of the situation helps me get perspective and feel a lot more relaxed. In summary, objective data shows that the world is a much better place to live in than the news would have us believe. Our instinctual leaning towards bad news stresses us out, and we need to guard against this by strengthening our mental fortress. Let us try taking a pause, tagging our emotions, and reframing situations based on data and evidence rather than stressed out perceptions for our own sakes. See you next time.